So, if you're having trouble starting with that project, it's probably music related if you're watching this maybe, I found that lowering the barrier to entry for that thing helped me heaps when I started. Actually continues to help all the time. When I did Jeweled, the first album, there was a lot of stuff I wanted to do, but I had to keep simplifying, keep dumbing it down to something that was achievable before I would actually be able to start doing it. You might be the same way. Maybe your plans are a bit too ambitious to start with, or maybe you're a couple projects in and you feel like you're ready to step up to this level. You may be, but if you haven't gotten started or you're spinning your wheels, you're not finding the time for it, maybe I've found in the past that it's because the thing I'm doing is too big. As in, I feel like I'm skipping steps, right? You want to literally, with anything that's kind of nerve-wracking like this, any creative project, you want to do like one step at a time. Even 2 steps can prevent you from doing that thing. So maybe it's going to some practical examples, like going to virtual instruments instead of getting someone to record the real thing. You just want to get the idea out in any way, shape and form. And if you just get the idea out and focus on songwriting, that helps me a lot. If I just focus on, I just want people to hear the song. And sometimes I get in my own way and I try to make it fancy and it slows things down and it gets more expensive and more time commitment. And sometimes people like the stuff that you just kind of didn't put too much thought into. They like that stuff more because I think it's more about songwriting. It's more about having an emotional connection to the thing. You know what I mean? So just try and lower the barrier to entry. Very, very small, achievable steps every time. And try and simplify it as much as humanly possible, with the end goal being just releasing it. That's the focus. And if you're spinning your wheels, maybe you're making it too complicated for yourself. So I think we like to start with things that are too complex sometimes. I think we like to start with complex ideas. And I think all ideas start quite simply, especially when it comes to like making music. I think the idea, the core idea itself, is usually like quite simple. And then we build layers of complexity on top of it afterwards. So never be afraid to have an idea that's simple, because I think the complexity comes later. We come up with something, we kind of like it. Maybe it's a chord progression, but you've heard it before and it's not crazy enough and whatnot. But if you've got that feeling inside that it makes you want to move or it's inspiring you, then stay with it and let the complexity come later. You can build layers onto it. You can add extra instruments. Maybe the lyrics are going across some sort of topic that's super interesting or whatnot. That's what you want to do. You want to start, I think, this is my experience, I want to start with something simple and then build the complexity on top of it. Because you don't want to... the inner child is doing the creating at the start. They're putting up their hand and going, oh, I think this chord progression would be cool, or I think this melody would be cool, or I actually really like these lyrics. I know the adult version of you thinks they're a bit lame, but I really like them. Well, don't shut them down. Don't shut down this idea just because it's too simple. Let the complexity come later and just follow the spark. That spark is usually from something that's super simple. And if you just follow that, then you might be surprised by how complicated it gets later on. Kind of goes with the whole lowering the barrier to entry thing. Just getting yourself started, getting the wheels turning is the hardest part. And if you're going, all I have to do is come up with 3 chords, that's easier than I'm going to write a whole song and and then maybe a symphony comes afterwards, but only when you're, 2 weeks into it and you realize what that bridge section needs. And people listen to it and go, how would I even start doing this? This is so complex. There's so much going on. I don't even know what. And then they write something and it's just chords. And they're like, oh, this is boring. But you're at the start. You're going to build onto it. Or maybe you'll just leave it simple and you'll think, this is so lame. I should have done something more complicated than this, or something more involved or whatnot. And it blows people's friggin' minds. So there you go. You just don't know, but don't be afraid and don't condemn things just because they're a simple idea. Just give it time, let it grow, roll with it, see what happens.